Public hearing starts at 6 or whatever time it is right now. This is about the driver's education fee increase. Mr. Vick or somebody else? Oh, sorry, Denise, how are you?
Good. Do I need to sit here or do I need to move or anything official? I haven't been here.
You should move up to the table.
I should move to the table. That's what I was thinking. I wasn't sure.
Of course, just what you said.
I know, right?
She does have a teacher's voice. so-
I do, and I can use it. We are proposing a small increase in the student fees for driver's ed for each session. $10 increase going from 165 to 175 for the regular session. And then the kids who are taking it through IDLA, they have to pay the IDLA fee, which is $75. And then they have to pay us currently $150. And we're asking that we increase that $150 to $160 as well. So that both of them are increased $10.
And it's probably in our packet somewhere, Denise, but just a quick reason for the increase. I know everything's going up.
Yes, fuel and repairs to help offset with that.
How are we doing on vehicles?
Okay, I have two of them that we just used over the summer that need to go in for repairs. We are down one from an incident that happened not at the fault of driver's ed. It was a outside person that collided with our vehicle, and we're waiting to replace that until the prices are a little more reasonable.
Somebody ever wanted to donate a vehicle? The driver's ed. I know this is probably outside of what we're talking about, but I don't see a whole lot of hands raised for asking questions. So can they do that, first of all? I'm sure this.
That's a very good question.
Yes,
Yes, they can.
How would they do that?
They basically just sign the title over, and then we give them basically a tax donation letter.
And if somebody wanted to, I would totally look into it and have Levi show me what to do. And then I have like areas around us, their fees and such. We are low compared to areas around us. The average is kind of skewed. It's 225 based on last year because this year's paperwork hasn't been finalized. I talked with the state director. And so based on last year's, the average is 225, but some school districts charge way more and some charge in essence less, but they're using some other funds to supplement it. So the 225 is the average, but it's a little bit skewed. So we're still less than the surrounding areas and significantly less than people who want to seek private.
How are you doing on instructors?
Great.
Fine.
Mhm.
I know, yeah, Mr. Holland.
Yes, I was able to bring Mr. Holland back. Right now, it's harder to get people recruited in because back in the olden days, I took the course and then I got reimbursed. And now they don't have that. It's where they can get reimbursed. So it's coming out of their pockets. But the State Department has started a new program where if somebody, after they work for a couple of years, they can be a mentor. And that skyrocketed. It went from seriously like $50 to $250 in reimbursement. And so my thought is,
The incentive.
yeah, I get them to get started. And then after they do a few years, then they can be, and we're also able to take on classified now as well. So if somebody in the district who's classified wants to, they get paid the same rate as a certified. And there's no shortage of kids. None.
Do they have I know a few, last couple of years, they didn't have anybody in town that could do the tests anymore.
There's
Do we
three.
have- We have them now?
Yes, I'm one of them.
Okay.
Yep, we have three, and one is an ex-driver's ed, that's Paul Shoffley, and then two of them are current drivers, ed instructors, myself and Brittany Christensen.
I think it's very warranted to do with the price of everything that they're dealing with. And Not like they have brand new vehicles and
No,
they're barely keeping
Yeah.
going, so I'm definitely, I think
Yeah, it's
it's.
not, you guys are splurging and wasting money.
Yeah.
no.
So these hearings are pretty fun. I mean, we've got, I think, 10 more minutes. I'm just sitting there staring at you.
Okay, okay. I'm a talker, so. I could bring Dave up if you need.
We'd rather not. We can talk about it. Oh, sorry.
I was actually suggested that I bring something up. I don't know if I'm allowed to right now or if I have to wait for those 10 minutes. That Nikki Cruiser would like to see if the board would like to put together a basket for the Tiger Open, which is September 23rd. I just left the planning meeting for that. We're asking that the district office is putting one together and that each school does, and we're really emphasizing alumni this year. So we're gonna try to kind of kick it into high gear.
September what?
23rd.
Yeah, we'll look into that somehow.
And these are for a raffle for that.
Yes, we're gonna do some silent items, hopefully for the baskets. And then we have some smaller ones. We're gonna do buy tickets and yeah. And the whole sponsors, we're doing that as well. $100 a hole unless you want whole 6, that's 200. Right? It's right there by the patio.
It's right there.
Everyone will see your name or your business name.
You said there's no shortage of kids, or is it pretty tough to get in? the class?
So right now, the August session starts the 21st, and the first class filled up with students mid-June. The second one, it's not quite full yet. I sent out some information to the students, but we run into a lull in this summer because some people just assume they can't get their verification of compliance because schools are closed. And then when they reach out though, to either me or to Levi or to anyone of the instructors, we let them know that they can still get in touch with Jenny Clark at the high school. So, because they can't get their permit until they get their VOC.
And then you have classes on certain days, every day.
So from August to October with 2 classes, I have one instructor who's going to do Monday, Wednesday, and the other instructor is going to do Tuesday, Thursday. That way, if they miss a class on a Monday or a Wednesday, like legit absence, then they can still make it up on one of these other days. Because the State Department's free.
Sports and all that.
No.
Try to make it work.
They can't, really and truly, it doesn't work because they can only miss 2 days per State Department guidelines, and they still have to make up that time. And then plus they have to do the drive. So I usually, if they're in sports, I try to encourage them to go the IDLA route or wait for a different session.
And I was actually thinking more of the sports we work around. If it's only 2 days a week.
Um,
Or does that not work very well?
It doesn't because we don't know when the drives will be.
Yeah.
So if there's, 50 kids, we usually do 2 kids. Some people do 3 in a group. Each one of those groups will have a different schedule. Yeah, and so it really varies. Yeah, my kids, because they didn't have IDLA back in my kids are older. And so they had to wait and just do it in June. And June is pretty flexible. Because this year we had 3 classes in June.
The IDLA route just takes care of the classroom portion.
Right, and then I have 2 instructors currently that take students. They can only take a certain amount of students because they can't go over their hours. And currently the 2, sometimes there's 3, and they'll pick them up. And, sometimes if the kid reaches out and says, I would really like to take this, I'm doing sports, sometimes they can work it out for other times. Just kind of depends on the sport, kind of depends on the instructor. Some instructors work on the weekends. I mean, it's not mandatory that they do, but they do sometimes.
I see them all.
Yeah, yep. But there's only some that will do that. Others are like, this is my family time, and I respect that. I don't decide their schedules. They decide themselves.
So if a kid is enrolled right now for the August class,
Mhm.
in class, is
Mhm.
it too late to switch to IDL?
No, we could switch the funds. But if somebody was interested in that, then they would really want to get it taken care of right away, because even though IDLA is online for the class, they still fill up. And so people have, like, parents sometimes have a hard time when they're like, well, I want my kid to do the IDLA. And I'm like, it's full, it's online. I'm like, yeah, but it's an IDLA program. They're the ones who decide, and there's still an instructor who grades things and interacts with the kids.
So you don't gotta use it.
But on the website, there's only one name listed on there right now. But if you happen to know somebody who is a certified instructor, you might be able to talk to them on, send them a text and see if maybe they're willing to take your child.
There's all different ways of working.
Yes. Mhm. Well, yeah, if you know somebody. Otherwise, right now, there's just one person who is listed, but I have a couple who are gonna come back and do more in August.
Mr. Holland, you made the long drive from your house for this. Do you any offer? Driver's ed? Pretty well covered by me.
Yeah, very well professionally. It's a good program. I mean, like she said, there's no shortage of kids. And these kids are desperate to get their life to do it. You remember what it was like. I do. Oh, man. I hate to disappoint them, so.
I have one right now that's so close to his 50 hours. And
Oh,
I was like, can't we just budget? No, we probably couldn't. There's a balance, right? It's like, maybe we're not quite ready for them to have it, but the more rides we have to give them.
mhm.
Hurry up.
Well, the first one, I was super excited for that. The second one, I was like, yeah, because I already had the first one to drive.
They're so excited to get their license and then they figure out that you and their mom and dad's go for it once you get the
Yes.
license.
But I think that's a fair trade-off, though.
Well, I do too.
Mhm.
Well, at least I did.
There really aren't students that go out of town, are they?
There are some. There are some that go to private. Mhm.
And
yeah.
that would be in the Boise area?
Yes.
or-
Mhm. And they're,
We had one private, I thought, in town that I've seen.
those two, the last one was an H,
Uh-huh.
like a longer one. They were out of Glens Ferry. They stopped everything. Everything with driver's ed, and I'm pretty sure they moved as well, because they were testing as well. And they were done.
I remember seeing them around
Yep.
my area.
Mhm. Yeah. Too.
But this is a public hearing, so we have a couple minutes left, which means, as far as public hearing, if anybody else has any questions. Back to audience. Feel free.
Always make sure when driver's ed's behind me, that I'm using my blinker. Turning from the right. I mean,
I get the heck out of it.
That's the first turn off. Kind of like house
Especially when they're just starting, it's like, oh, duh.
Yeah.
And it's not about, it's not about the shift or anything. So we got this.
It depends on the instructor. If I notice Mr. Holland in the passenger seat of the car, I'm probably getting out of the way. And he may encourage the kid not.
Yeah.
You wouldn't. Okay, no, never.
You just don't want to be that one driver where the kids are pointing out, see that gal there doing it all wrong. I don't know.
First one was sitting in the front, I said, "Well, Dad, did you know that you were supposed to do?" So I know you're learning, it's okay.
Would you emphasize those driver's ed way, not that the parents or guardians are wrong. It's just, we do it the driver's ed way.
I remember when I went to driver's ed, it was 10 and 2, and all of a sudden they switched it to what, 8 and 4, I'm like, when did they do that?
Yeah,
I
back
thought it
in,
was when 10 and 2.
yep. But back in the day, we'd take driver's ed and they would say, here's your license, bye.
Yeah, not where I was.
You know, now they have to practice 6 months, 50 hours. Which what you were saying.
No, I did. We have simulators and all kinds of stick shifts and stuff.
All right, Denise, you're off the hook.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so with no further public input or any questions by us, matters closed, and we'll go out there and order. Next, we have the junior high activity fees. Is that you, Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Gilbert, members of the board, like you to consider a proposed increase to junior high activity fees from $10, what they're currently at, to $25. I realize this is a pretty steep increase, but I think it's something that's necessary for us to do to be able to keep up with updating equipment, updating uniforms, and just kind of staying on top of that. It's also, I feel like a little bit of a catch up. I just finished up my 5th year here and it was $10 when I first started here. And I think it was $10 even much before then. And when I first started there, one of the things I was looking at was to increase the fees, but then COVID hit. And for a couple of years, we weren't sure about whether we were going to have games or not. And so we just kind of put that aside. And so now that we're hoping that ship is long gone, that, you know, things are back to normal. And so, you know, like I said, with the price of equipment and stuff, that we need to implement this so that we can kind of catch up.
I was thinking about this. My oldest son is almost 24 and it was $10.
I think it was been that for a long time.
What is it for the high school?
35,
It's
35.
gotta be the same ballpark.
They're 30,
Yeah.
they're $30 for the year.
Right. And this would be,
This says 50, 25 for the semester, so it'd be 50 a year.
no. That should be for the academic school year.
The school year.
Okay.
That's a good question.
No, that should be a one-time fee per school year.
Nick, does that'll help also with some of the officials' costs, correct?
Yeah. Mhm.
It's kind of the whole lump sum.
Yeah,
The equipment
equipment fees,
for-
yeah. You know, and then one thing that we don't do at the junior high, that high school, you know, is charge admission. And that at the high school helps offset those costs of officials. We don't have that, so yeah, that will definitely help out in paying for those costs. Just a comparison, I reached out to a lot of the different schools in our league. We're still in the District 3 there, and just reached out, and they're really kind of all over the place. But be honest with you, even if we were to increase to $25, we're the best deal in the league. Emmett Middle School charges $35 per sport. Middleton charges $50 per sport with a $100 maximum. Valley View does a $30 fee, just a one-time fee, and then Caldwell does a $35 fee, and then they have sports fees and the fees are different. You know, like obviously football is going to be a little bit more expensive than say track. So they pay the $35 activity fee and then
And
extra for the sports fees. CUNA is a $40 activity fee. So I think given all of that, we're pretty competitive with our the schools that we compete with.
It's amazing that we continued with 10.
Yeah.
Well, I think, sounds like we're still a little behind, even at this. Maybe looking forward, we can just inch this up.
It'll definitely help. I don't think it will make us, what I would say, comfortable, but, you know, and of course, you know, with the economy, who knows, you know, if things get expensive or maybe things get a little bit cheaper. But I would probably say we would need to visit this, you know, probably not every year, but at least sooner than every 5 years or however long it's been. So. I also did reach out to Treasure Valley Catholic Schools, and they charge $135 per sport. Since they're a private school, so kind of in comparison to that, you know.
Nick, how are we doing with referees? Has it been tough to get referees?
I mean, we have, you know, I have a person to contact for each sport, and, you know, typically it's been, you know, for basketball, we have about 4 or 5 people. You know, they're the kind of the same ones through there. I would say probably we're better off because I've heard stories from other schools that a lot of times they have one official. I think we've been very fortunate with the Lockets, you know, for volleyball, that they're usually there to help referee with volleyball. And I think volleyball is really difficult. I've heard that sometimes our coaches have had to referee at an away game just because there's no officials. So in comparison to that, I think we're okay. Now, how well they officiate, now that's, you hear that from the crowd, yes. I always thought the referees ought to be in the stands because clearly you can see more from there than you can.
So you're on the sideline or in the stands.
Yeah. Right.
Yes. Can tell you from softball, yes.
You're looking for any kind of gift basket?
No, but I guess I will announce. No. Ryan Coons and I are putting together a raffle, again, for athletics to kind of help bring it a little bit more there. And so we'll have a few more details at the 1st of August, but
Teacher dunk tank, something like that? Or?
well, no, we're going to have a Traeger grill, which retails to almost about close to $1,000. And so we're just going to sell only a limited amount of tickets. And we're still kind of looking to maybe if we can add on to that with some other prizes there. And so.
Like you guys take it. Thanks.
Mhm. So hopefully Not too many people own a Traeger or ready to upgrade or something. This is a really nice one.
Well, since I donate to everything, maybe you could let us know when you do that.
Okay.
It's just a donation on a constant.
Really, I appreciate that.
Okay, yeah, kids are grown, so now I gotta give back to all the fundraising in town, so. Kind of hard to go through the process. No, no. Put that right there. It's good. Right. It's special.
So uniforms, what have you guys been doing? I would imagine. Spend, so it's been getting from high school when they get new ones?
Yeah, it hasn't, I mean, and the high school's been great, but for the most part, it's been kind of the hand-me-downs. And the problem we were running into is that when we field an A and B team, say, take for instance, basketball, what I ask my coaches is that we field at least 10 on the A team and 15. If we have to cut, then we need to have at least 15 on the B. So that figures 25. But when you get those handed down from the high school, they usually order those by team, and you have a set of maybe 10, maybe 12 at the most. And so then you want your A and your B team to at least look similar. And so you have different uniforms and, and again, sometimes with the hand-me-downs, you might get 10 pairs of tops and 8 pairs of shorts. And we have replaced, we got new football uniforms, and that was due to an anonymous donor who just donated the money for that. We did one year have one of our basketball coaches purchase uniforms for a basketball team, but again, it was just for the A team. And so, and we had 214 students participate in sports this year, and numbers are increasing. We took a dive with COVID, didn't have a lot of participation, but this year we had a lot of kids come out, and we're projecting that we're going to have even more. So I think it's, yeah.
close enough. Nick, thank you.
All right.
So much. We really appreciate it. This will be on the, this is an agenda item for the regular board meeting.
If you need to go.
I'll wait for a little bit. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. If you can scan and join us in place, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We get a motion to approve the agenda, or if there's any, anything added.
So I've got one thing on the agenda. On here, we've got, for item B under section B, unfinished business, item A, number 7. This says that we're doing fees for both the high school and the junior high. Can we just strike high school? Because that's what we're doing in junior high.
Is that for the driver's ed?
No, that's for the increase in student fees.
The driver's ed is high school.
Yeah,
high
high school, yeah,
Which
so
one-
that's,
which one's the one for the?
they're both student fees.
Yeah, so driver's ed is. included.
Okay, so that's both of them included in one. Okay.
Any other questions on the agenda? If not, we get a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda, unless somebody wants something pulled out, if we get a motion to approve as presented in the packet.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any public input? There's anybody sign in for public input? Thank you. All right, Air Force Base Liaison, is there Dominique here? Hey, how are you?
Sorry, I didn't need to ring the doorbell.
You're good.
It's my
You don't
first
have,
one.
you don't have to speak, but we'd love to meet you, so to speak, and we got your email.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank
So I'm
you.
not sure if you had anything you wanted to say, you're welcome to at this point.
Not too much. I know that, I just wanted to kind of introduce myself. Let's just stand up, I guess. But I'm Dominic. I'm the new school liaison at Mountain Home Air Force Base, and I'm really excited to be here and get to work with all of you guys. And it's truly an honor. This is truly my background is education, and I love working with kids, and to be able to carry that passion out just means a lot to me. So I'm really excited to be here and work with each and every one of you. And I think the only thing that I needed to tell you guys that from the last meeting minutes that I read before was that the PAB School Advisory Committee will be August 29th. So we welcome everybody to come and join. The more info that we can get out to the parents, the better. The more involvement we can get out, the better. And I'm just excited to be here and work with each and every one of you. So
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Dominique, you have a folder up here in one of the chairs.
I'm special.
So that is your spot every meeting.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
Superintendent's report, Mr. Gilbert.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, just a couple items this month. First, an update on our portables over at West. Those are getting close to being ready to inhabit. We're over there right now. Tech Sport's been getting the buildings ready for technology that needs to be put in, and then very quickly we will have furniture put in those buildings, so they'll be ready to go by the start of school. And then just a quick update on our hiring right now. We're in pretty good shape. We've got some elementary openings right now that are probably our biggest concern, but we really have had a pretty successful hiring timeframe here for the last 6 weeks. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
How many positions in the English level?
Come on. Depends on the day. So we've had some, East right now has the most openings, but that was due to some movement to open positions out at base. We had some staff that transferred into there. So I think we are currently sitting at 5 openings at least.
How are you doing on the base? People coming in, coming out.
Yeah, there's been no real update on that. I don't think, it's hard to predict what enrollment will be district-wide, but it's also, kind of hard with Stevenson depending on kind of that deployment and change with it. So Dominique probably has better information than I do on when the next round of personnel will start cycling through. So, but we're planning to have, we approach it from kind of status quo with it unless there's a reason that we should. So if we know that there's a large incoming group, then we'll adjust personnel. But I have a feeling what you'll see, we're being very cautious with hiring this year. And so it can very easily be where we get to that first, 2 or 3 days before school, where we start getting a better enrollment number, and we're going to need to make some staffing adjustments then.
The Air Force did announce last week, or this week, that there was a freeze potentially for PCSs, depending on, and pushing a lot of them back into October, in the new fiscal year because of funding.
Sure.
Approvals on a case-by-case basis and stuff for folks. So we may or may not see that balance until later in the fall, during the school year. And they had a town hall on base about it yesterday. Have we heard anything on a waiver for Stevenson?
As far as the grant project,
Yeah.
at this point, no. I submitted the information that we have, and at this point, there hasn't been any additional correspondence.
At the ribbon cutting. And if you could just update me real quick, 'cause I noticed, I wasn't here last time, but in the minutes, you mentioned something in the portables about some of the units were wrong.
Yes, they had the doors in the wrong, even though we ordered them custom, some of the doors ended up in the wrong spots. Those have been remedied. So everything should be good to go.
Any other questions for Mr. Gilbert? Board engagement report. Anybody has anything to report? All right, unfinished business. Mr. Vick, approval of the proposed student increases.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, ask for the approval of the student fee increases for the driver's ed and activity fees.
If we can get a motion to approve the fee increases for the high school and the junior high as proposed.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right, discussion and possible determination of the continuation of the ISB membership.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'm gonna hand down copies of, we had Mr. Vick run the ISBA costs for the last, since 2019 through 2023, and what the anticipated cost for 24 will be.
Do we have the reimbursement rates from what the state reimbursed us?
I don't know on that, if there-
I didn't have that.
Because I know we got reimbursed from the state as well for work.
We get reimbursed, but it's pretty minimal.
Yeah,
Usually it's,
nowhere near.
their payment's about $300, correct? From what you submit.
Oh, yeah, it's nothing even close to what we spend.
So I know you guys had a lengthy discussion on this last month. Couldn't tell really from the minutes how in depth it went, but something you guys did go over some pros and cons of being a member. We talked about training, right? Training, some of the questions I asked Mr. Gilbert kind of offsite. And what about if there is any influence on the legislature that they may or may not provide? The feedback was kind of mixed, really, that, well, it's good to have a voice and support them, Not sure how effective they are.
We kind of went through that the last time. That's why we asked for this, to see what actual costs were reimbursed, what our costs were over the yearly fee that we paid. And with what happened last year, it doesn't appear that there was much effect in the legislature. So we asked to bring this, to get this, so we have all the costs. And without petition to them, we didn't know what was reimbursed, and it was very, very little, so, we're out quite a bit. And no reimbursement, we had talked about backing off for a year, not backing off, and we realized, it was brought up that, they don't have the support in their job, but again, that's an awful lot of money to be spending and not getting a lot of return, especially when our budget is going down, it's not going up.
I personally think that the cost is almost getting, just out of reach for what we truly get out of it, because we still have available to us the board trainings and what's necessary. We can still request all of that. I truly believe that you can take any avenue to make your voice heard, and this has been a great avenue to do that. And being, part of an organization that promotes the best for kids. But it seems it's high to me. And I just wonder if we just took a break and then did some comparisons. I don't know how that would work, but just to see, there was a time in Mountain Home where we were not a member of this group. We did not pay dues.
For a number of years.
For a number of years. And I remember he came back and wanted us to become involved. And after a while we did, and that's all been good too. But boy, it just seems like we're heading into times where it's going to be tight. We've got some deficits coming that we're going to have to deal with as a board. And in my opinion, it just seems like we could tighten up a little bit.
So Sharon, you mentioned last meeting that we can still attend this stuff at a higher rate. How much higher is the cost? for us to
Maybe
go to-
$100 more than what we pay now. It's
That
not,
would be for the conference, basically.
like the conference is 750, then it might be 800.
How about trainings, any rough idea? If that would change percentage wise even maybe, or maybe that's another question to start you right now.
That I don't know how much.
Well, I think it also depends on if the training falls under the money that the district has available through the legislature, through training. Because whether you remember or not, that money is available if it's towards a training that meets that criteria.
And we've used that money in the past. to pay
Yeah.
for- And that's kind of what I'm looking at, is, this cost, the total cost in here is like the $2,000 on others for other training, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But that money was reimbursed by, that $2,000 was reimbursed by the state.
We only got $370. So I just pulled up numbers. So for FY '23, we got $370. For FY '22, we got $4,038. And then FY '21, we got $3,300.
The higher numbers were the Coeur d'Alene reimbursements. Only because the cost is a lot higher, with airfare and all that.
Me personally, I think there's some value in it, but I think we have to be wise, just my personal opinion, fiscally, if we're talking about consolidating positions and getting mixed uniforms, we're We're here first for the students.
Hmm.
So, we need to make some pause and make some cuts. Maybe it's nice to see how it plays out. And I think a couple of us are still attending the conference, so we'll see what the costs come in. And it's in Boise, I mean, think about it, so ideally,
Cut it
if we
in,
all go, it's you're adding $500, right?
cut the last day off the conference for us too. We'll have no say. So we'll have no, believe it also, we have no say in their agenda. What they advocate for, what they don't advocate for.
But I also think that they've been gaining members, maybe history changes, but they're gaining members, the cost of going out. Maybe they need to reset that too.
If that's what, like last meeting and, the cost of going up. Doesn't seem like anything is getting any better for us. They're not providing more training, much less the cost. The training is reimbursed. It just makes sense to me to back off for a year or two and see what happens. And, see what happens with the next legislative session. There needs to be some changes there. They are responsible enough and can't get it done. No sense.
You got some legislators up there
Understand,
that it doesn't matter who comes and talks to them.
understand.
Doesn't care less about education.
I mean, for the money we're paying, you can hire a lobbyist for us personally.
Well, then I would make the motion that we discontinue our membership for now. The ISBA,
Second,
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Now,
Motion's carried. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, did you say continue or discontinue?
I would say discontinue. Out of this open enrollment, Mr. Gilbert.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, you have one out of district open enrollment request this month. This is for a student who resides in Boise. They do have a sibling that currently attends Packard. The parent's work is located in the community, and so that is the reason for the request. I would ask for your approval of the open enrollment application on file.
We get a motion to approve the out of district open enrollment as presented.
I would so move.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution 24-01, authorization for the superintendent to apply for Title VIII Public Law 103-302 funds. Mr. Gilbert.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is the first resolution for the fiscal year. This is the resolution that we need approved so that we may apply for impact aid funds. So I would ask for your approval of resolution 24-01.
so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution 24-02, authorization to suspend students. Mr. Gilbert.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, resolution 2402 is the resolution giving authority to the listed individuals to suspend students for disciplinary measures. You can see on there that those are our principals and assistant principals at school, along with our director of operation, Mr. Longhurst, our special education director, our director of instruction, and myself. So I would ask for your approval of resolution 24-02.
Make a motion to approve the resolution 24-02.
so
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any policy revision?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, in your packet for the first and only reading is the board authority policy engaging the public and employees. I believe the only change, a couple of highlights in yellow. But it's just to change the verbiage eliminate board of trustees and title. And as you go down to line 137, eliminating NSBA, that's the National School Board Association. And then on 155, changing must be to will be. And those are the changes to that policy.
This is the first and only reading. We have a motion to approve the annual policy revision.
So I have a question. Why are we removing NSBA?
We haven't done a number of
Yeah.
them for a long. There's a time that the board and James go out to Washington DC to talk to our representatives out there, and that was done through the NSBA, but we haven't. That approved completely ineffective every year.
They lost a lot of members. They still- they wrong.
I know ICA pulled out,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people-
and they started their own.
Any other questions on the motion? We get a motion to approve the revision.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Authorization to schedule additional school board training. I think one thing we should do is, maybe look at what the impact of our decision is on the cost of training. How much will be reimbursed? Did you say that? How much is going to be reimbursed this year? The training?
That I'm not, I have to look and see what it was changed to.
So you want to table that?
I think so. And then maybe we can, at the same time, if we do want to move forward with some training.
Do
Think of some ideas.
you want to at least approve the November annual convention and was in the board? No.
We probably could. You can register and arrange it.
Yeah.
So we're going to motion to approve the convention in November.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And we'll table the training discussion. Okay with everybody? Do we need a motion for that, Sean?
Yes.
If we get a motion to table the training discussion until next month, someone,
Second.
any opposed? This is all in favor first, right? All in favor? Any opposed? Everyone else doing this far down. Depositories of district funds, Mr. Vick.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, we currently have two public depositories. The first one is First Interstate Bank that has our accounts payable account, the payroll account, petty cash account, and food service account. And then the second account, the second location is our investment account with the Idaho State Treasurer. I ask that you approve both locations for fiscal year 2024.
It's First Interstate right next to it.
Yes.
If we approve this, can you tell them to repaint their parking lots? It's not very easy.
You can't spray paint a lot for 2 months.
I'm just doing one. We get a motion to approve the depositories of district funds as presented by Mr. Vick.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We get a motion to enter an executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Sharon, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Knox?
Aye.
Trustee Perez?
Aye.
Trustee Benyon?
Aye.
Trustee Donahue?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman?
Aye. Be it so resolved that the Board of Trustees of School District 193 recess from an open meeting into the following executive session. First, pursuant to Idaho Code 74-206, 1B, to consider the evaluation of a public school employee, Idaho Code. Be it further resolved that following the executive session, the Board of Trustees will convene into public session for further business or adjournment of the executive session.